What's up, guys? I'm gonna show you a 3-step process on how to improve your slicing or just generally peaking angle when you have an angle disadvantage. I'll go more in depth on that. My personal experience, I've been coached by tier 1 players, play tier 1 scrims such as Moose, Nerve, and others. I also play multiple tier 2 tournaments and also currently in Mortal 3 and been in Mortal 3 for multiple acts now. Alright, let's get it. Once you're in the server, we're going to teach you how to slice the pie. Slicing the pie is pretty much slicing. You could think of it like slicing a cake. But the main point is not to be exposed to all the angles that you could be peaked from. Instead, just be peaked from a couple angles. So for example, I slice here, I'm only exposed to that angle. And maybe that angle since I can't see. But when do you actually use it? There's a thing called angle advantage and disadvantage. This is not a guide on it. Let me know if you want me to make one. Angle advantage, when you're closer or further from the angle than the enemy. So the enemy's at that ping. The wall that's in between us is that. I'm further from this wall. I have the advantage. This is when you trace angles. Let me know if you want me to make a video on that. But when you're peeking and you're closer to the angle, and the enemy's further, this is an example, you're at a disadvantage. That's why you want to slice the pie to have the maximum movement without making a step. That's the idea. So there's a 3-step process you use. Readiness to shoot. You have to be ready to shoot this guy. So how do you actually be ready? Many pros, and especially CSGO, they wait a moment before slicing a pie. So wait, slice the pie, wait, slice the pie. Or they could like blink. I know Aspas does this. Where they blink and have ready. Or they imagine the player is actually the angle they're peeking. So imagine a player is right here and peek. How do you know if you're doing this right? So if there's an enemy here, instead of reacting to them and clicking, I want to already be ready and click. Another thing. This is step 2 of the process. Once you're ready to shoot, crosshair placement. This is not a crosshair placement guide. Let me know if you want me. Way to practice it though. It's just shoot an Odin on the angle. This is gonna be rough. Or get a friend that could just play at an angle. And the idea is to have head height. So you just and you want to jiggle. Okay, that's head height. And then I would actually practice the slice pie. But before you do that, this is the 3rd step. You want the movement part. When you move, there's a movement part before you make a step. That's where you want it. But also, one thing is, you don't want a small movement. You want as much as possible. So you want to maximize the silent step before making a step. I'm calling it a silent step. So that's a step. That's a silent step. But there are some situations where you wanna just move very small. This comes with a lot of practice. All right, now let's put all 3 together. Head height, readiness, shoot, and slicing the pie. I want to slice in 3 angles. How many slices do I want? 3, 4. Let's say for this, I would probably do 4. It depends on the rank you are, though. So, and also the game you're in. It comes with a lot of knowledge and practice and VOD reviewing. This will take time before mastering. So, let's just use the example of 4. And that's the idea. But here's a basic rule you can apply to almost any angle. A rule of 3, where you slice close, middle, and then far. So close, middle, and then far. The tighter the angle, the harder it is. The wider the angle, the easier it is. Close, middle, far. That would be way easier. Here's a quick summary of everything I said. Before anything, when do you want to use slicing the pie or pretty much peeking an angle when you have the disadvantage? Think of it. You do not want to be slicing the pie when you have the angle advantage. Because think of it like a swap team. when they're clearing angles, they're not clearing angles like this. But when they're close to an angle, they are slicing the pie to minimize the amount of angles they could be to. So when you have angle advantage, you want to trace the angle. I'll make a video on that. When you have an angle disadvantage, when you're closer to the wall, you want to slice the pie. Alright, here's a 3-step process. 1, readiness, shoot. Be ready to shoot this guy. 2, crosshair placement. Crosshair placement is king. And 3, you want to be moving as fast as you can without making a step. But it does depend on the angle. Like, if I want to just kill this guy and I don't care about making a step, just move by making like 1 footstep, right? Or, but if you like clearing angle slowly by slow walking, you want to just try and maximize the movement you can, or how many slices you want to do. It's fully dependent on that. I hope you could use this as a toolkit, not as a definite guide to like end all be all, but hopefully this helps. I'll leave some resources in the comments. Let me know if you want any other videos in the comments. Thank you so much. God bless.